The small puppy huddled in the corner of the dimly lit warehouse, its trembling body a stark contrast against the cold, harsh concrete floor. Its eyes flicked nervously to every shadow, ears straining at the faintest sound of footsteps. The walls of the warehouse, once alive with the bustle of human activity, now lay abandoned, crumbling with time. The only company the puppy had were the echoes of its own whimpers, and the occasional drip of water from a cracked ceiling. Fear gnawed at its tiny heart. With each rustle in the darkness, it could feel the weight of being alone, of being abandoned. The door at the far end of the warehouse stood ajar, but it felt miles away. Puppy's body stiffened as it caught a glimpse of something moving in the shadows. Was it another animal? Was it danger? The world outside, full of unknowns, seemed less inviting than the cold, dim shelter it now occupied. But survival instinct kicked in. The puppy's small paws shuffled forward, but its body was still. It was ready to run. But should it stay hidden, hoping the danger would pass, or take a risk and run into the unknown? The scent of stale air mingled with something deeper, something dangerous. The puppy's heart pounded louder, drowning out everything else. It stared at the door again. That was its escape. Or was it a trap? The puppy's tiny form stood frozen in the doorway, torn between the dark, abandoned warehouse behind it and the uncertain world outside. The daylight beckoned, but so did the fear of the unknown. Its heart raced, urging it to run, but the instinct to stay hidden still clung tightly. The soft, cool breeze that trickled in through the cracked door felt like freedom, but it also felt alien, like a distant promise that might slip away the moment it stepped out. The sound of the wind rustling the leaves outside almost sounded like a whisper, a gentle call to escape the nightmare within. The puppy's gaze flickered between the door and the dark corners of the warehouse. Every movement in the shadows sent a shiver down its spine. It had been abandoned here, forgotten, left to fend for itself. There was nothing but the cold walls and the silence now, but beyond that door, what was out there? Was it a chance for survival, or just another trap? Its instinct screamed at it to flee, but the fear of what could await was enough to paralyze it for a moment longer. The decision was made in an instant, driven by something primal within the puppy. It moved forward, each step tentative, as if testing the safety of the outside world. The air grew warmer as it left the shadows behind, the soft sun warming its fur for the first time in what felt like forever. For a brief moment, the puppy forgot the fear, the hunger, and the confusion. It was simply alive, walking in the world that lay beyond the warehouse walls. The world was wide and strange, full of endless possibilities and dangers. As the puppy stepped further into the light, it couldn't help but feel a flicker of hope. This could be the start of something new. But then the wind shifted, and with it came the sound of rustling in the underbrush. The puppy froze, its heart racing again. It had barely escaped the clutches of the dark warehouse. Now, what awaited it out here? As the puppy ventured further into the field, the sounds of the world grew louder, rustling leaves, distant bird calls, and the soft hum of the wind through the grass. But the puppy was not alone. A rustling sound near the tree line made it stop, ears standing at attention. It wasn't the soft whisper of the wind. Something else was out there. The puppy's muscles tensed, its heart racing again as it tried to make sense of the unfamiliar noise. Its eyes darted around, seeking the source, but the long grasses and trees offered no answers. The air seemed to grow thicker, and the puppy felt a chill creep up its spine despite the warmth of the sun. What could it be? A predator? A fellow stray? The puppy hesitated, its instincts battling with its desire for freedom. Should it hide, or should it face whatever lurked out there? The uncertainty hung heavy in the air, and the puppy's once steady steps became slower, each one filled with caution. The wind shifted again, and the rustling grew louder. There was no more time to think. It had to make a choice. Suddenly, a figure emerged from the trees, larger than the puppy, yet not a threat. A dog, its fur slightly matted, and face scarred from survival in the wild. The puppy froze, its heart pounding, as the new arrival circled it, sniffing the air. The larger dog's eyes studied the puppy closely, not with malice, but with curiosity. For a brief moment, time seemed to slow. The puppy's survival instinct screamed to run, to hide, but something about the dog's approach felt different. There was no growl, no sign of aggression. The larger dog sat down a few feet away, its tail twitching, watching the smaller pup with an intense but not unfriendly gaze. The puppy shifted its weight nervously, unsure of whether to take a step forward or retreat. The silence between them was thick, filled only with the distant sounds of the forest and the low rustle of leaves. The puppy's breath came in short, nervous gasps, its body still on edge. Was this a moment of danger or something else entirely? The larger dog, still circling the smaller puppy, exhaled a low growl that rumbled through the air, not of malice but of caution. It sniffed the ground near the puppy before sitting back on its haunches. The puppy, despite its initial fear, felt something shift inside it. This dog didn't seem to be a threat. The tension in the air began to ease, though the puppy remained on edge. The sounds of the wind rustling through the trees grew louder, but the rustle of leaves now felt comforting, like a reminder of the life around them. The puppy's tail flicked nervously, but it was no longer hiding behind a crate or shaking in fear. It watched the larger dog, trying to understand its intentions. The dog's eyes locked onto the puppy's, and for a brief moment, they seemed to exchange an unspoken understanding. The larger dog then turned its attention to the horizon, its body relaxed but alert. It was clear now. The larger dog wasn't here to harm. But the question remained, why was it here? Was it a companion? A guide? Or just a solitary creature like the puppy? The answers, for now, would have to wait. The two dogs, one small, the other large, walk together across the open field. The puppy trails behind, taking hesitant steps, its eyes constantly flicking to the larger dog. At first the silence is unsettling. Then the larger dog looks back over its shoulder, offering a soft growl, as if to reassure the puppy. Its ears are alert, as though it's scanning the world for any potential threats. The puppy, despite its fear, follows, its curiosity overcoming its natural instinct to hide. It wasn't entirely alone anymore. As they walk, the puppy notices the way the larger dog navigates the field with ease, its steps sure and purposeful. The puppy tries to mimic the movements, though it's not as graceful. Still, there's a sense of shared purpose between them, a bond that's starting to form, one forged through survival rather than trust. In this moment, the puppy realizes that perhaps, just perhaps, this might be the companion it never knew it needed. But even in this fleeting peace, there's an undercurrent of danger, lurking in the distance. The puppy doesn't know it yet, but the field is about to offer up a challenge neither of them can ignore. The world shifts as the silence is broken by a rustling sound, quick, sharp, and coming from the dense underbrush ahead. The larger dog halts immediately, its head snapping toward the sound, its body coiled in readiness. The puppy's heart skips a beat, and it instinctively moves closer to the larger dog, though it can't help but feel a sense of dread creeping up its spine. Something was out there. Something dangerous. The larger dog growls low and deep, its body language suddenly tense, as if it's facing a threat it's prepared for. The puppy watches in silence, its own instincts screaming to run, but its legs refuse to move. The rustling continues, louder now, followed by the snapping of twigs under heavy paws. The ground beneath their feet seems to vibrate with the power of whatever is approaching. The puppy wants to bolt, but its gaze is fixed on the shadows ahead. Was it another predator? Or something else, perhaps more dangerous? The air grows thick, and the world holds its breath, waiting for the next move. The rustling grows louder, and out of the underbrush emerges a massive wolf. Its eyes glow with an unnatural yellow hue, and its fur is dark and thick, blending with the night. The larger dog immediately steps in front of the puppy, growling menacingly, its stance broad and protective. The wolf snarls in return, its lips curling to reveal sharp teeth. The puppy's heart races, its breath quickening as it watches the standoff unfold before it. The world around them grows silent, save for the occasional growl that echoes through the air. The larger dog remains unwavering, but the puppy's body shakes. It doesn't understand this world, and it certainly doesn't understand why it's been thrust into the middle of such a confrontation. The wolf takes a step forward, and the larger dog responds with a sharp bark, its body lowering in preparation to strike. The standoff could erupt into chaos at any moment, and the puppy knows that it has only two options: to stay close to the larger dog, or to run and hope it doesn't become the wolf's next meal. With a sudden burst of movement, the larger dog lunges at the wolf, teeth bared, but the wolf dodges, circling around to flank. The battle between the two is swift and brutal, a blur of fur, teeth, and growls. The puppy watches, frozen, as the two animals fight. Each movement is a testament to the raw power and survival instincts that both animals possess. The puppy, despite its fear, cannot tear its eyes away. It's only when the wolf momentarily loses its footing that the larger dog takes the opportunity to bite down hard, pinning the wolf to the ground. The wolf yelps in pain and retreats, its eyes glaring with hatred, before it disappears back into the shadows of the forest. The larger dog, panting heavily, stands victorious, though its body is marked with scratches and bruises. The puppy, still trembling, steps forward cautiously, its eyes wide with awe and fear. For the first time, it sees what true survival looks like: raw, unrelenting, and full of sacrifice. But in that moment, the larger dog turns toward the puppy, its expression softening, signaling that the battle is over, for now. The duo, puppy, and the larger dog continued their journey through the dense forest, the trail winding through trees and underbrush. The forest felt more alive than ever, the air thick with the scent of pine and damp earth. The puppy, now a little more confident, trotted beside the larger dog, its eyes scanning the surroundings. But then, something unusual caught the puppy's attention. A flicker of movement in the distance. The puppy's instincts told it to stay cautious, but curiosity won out, and it nudged the larger dog. The dog's ears perked up, and with a soft growl, it led the puppy forward, closer to the strange sight. As they approached, the forest seemed to open up to reveal an abandoned building. Its walls were overgrown with ivy, its windows shattered, and its doors creaked with age. But what struck the puppy the most was the eerie stillness that enveloped the place. This wasn't just an old building, it felt as though it had been hidden for a reason. A sense of danger, of something unknown, filled the air. The larger dog led the way, its body poised and cautious. The puppy, though hesitant, followed, stepping carefully over the debris that littered the ground. Inside, the air was damp and stale, filled with the scent of mold and decay. The puppy's paws echoed lightly on the wooden floors as it explored the dark interior, its eyes scanning the corners. Suddenly, the puppy's nose caught a different scent, one that wasn't as stale, but oddly familiar. It wasn't the scent of a human or another animal, but something older, ancient even. The puppy followed the trail, the larger dog trailing behind, more cautious than before. The scent led them to a hidden compartment beneath the floorboards. The puppy's sharp little claws dug at the loose board, and with a sudden pull, it revealed an artifact, a strange, glowing stone. The glow was faint but undeniable, casting soft light across the floor. The larger dog sniffed it cautiously, then looked at the puppy, a deep growl rumbling in its chest. The puppy, its small frame trembling, nudged the glowing stone, uncertain of its power or significance. The larger dog stepped forward, its nose hovering just inches above the stone. Its growl deepened, a mixture of fear and recognition. The atmosphere in the room changed. The air felt charged, heavy with energy. The puppy backed away, sensing the tension, but its curiosity still held it there. The larger dog took a step back, its eyes never leaving the artifact. The glowing stone pulsed slightly, as though reacting to their presence. Then, to the puppy's shock, the larger dog began to circle the stone, sniffing around it cautiously. Something about the stone seemed to resonate with the dog, as though it knew something about the object that the puppy could not understand. The puppy remained still, watching intently. It didn't know what this object was, or why the larger dog was acting this way, But the unease in the air told it that whatever was happening was far more important than either of them realized. Suddenly, the larger dog barked sharply, its body bristling with tension. The puppy flinched, startled by the dog's outburst, but before it could react, the stone's glow brightened. The room seemed to pulse with an unseen force. The walls trembled slightly, as though the building itself was responding to the stone. The puppy's heart pounded in its chest, and for a fleeting moment, it thought about running back into the safety of the forest. But something deeper held it in place, something instinctual, as if the discovery was too important to ignore. The larger dog's growl subsided, but its posture remained protective. The glow from the stone slowly dimmed, but the air around them still felt thick, almost oppressive. There was something ancient in the stone, something tied to this place, and possibly to the larger dog itself. The puppy's mind raced with questions. What was this artifact? Why was it here? And why did the larger dog seem to recognize it so strongly? Before the puppy could process more, a low rumble echoed in the distance, almost as if the ground itself was warning them. The rumble in the distance grows louder, and the ground beneath them seems to shake. The larger dog's eyes widen, and with a sudden burst of movement, it snatched up the glowing stone in its mouth, pushing the puppy toward the door. The puppy stumbled, still uncertain of what was happening, but it instinctively followed the larger dog. The stone, now firmly in the dog's mouth, radiated an intense energy. As they approached the door, a shadow appeared in the doorway. Someone, or something, was coming. The puppy's pulse quickened, its body frozen with fear, but the larger dog didn't hesitate. It darted out of the door and into the fading light, the puppy hot on its heels. The world outside felt strange and unfamiliar, but the sense of danger inside the building was more real. The puppy's mind raced. What had just happened? Who was coming? And why had the larger dog taken the stone? It didn't know yet, but something told it this was just the beginning of a much larger story, one that would change everything. The puppy and the larger dog ran through the forest, the shadows of the trees stretching long in the fading light. Every rustle in the bushes, every snap of a twig underfoot made the puppy's heart race. The larger dog's pace never faltered, its body tense as if it was aware of something closing in on them. The glow from the stone still emanated from the dog's mouth, lighting their path, though the air around them felt thick, heavy with impending danger. The puppy tried to keep up, its legs burning, but it couldn't help but look over its shoulder, sensing something more than the normal forest noises. The forest, once a place of refuge, now felt like a labyrinth, a maze leading them toward an unknown danger. The larger dog suddenly stopped, its ears perked. The puppy followed the dog's gaze, seeing nothing but the dense underbrush. But the unease in the air told the puppy that someone, was watching them. With a low growl, the larger dog nudged the puppy forward, urging it to move faster. Time was running out. As the duo moved deeper into the woods, a sudden howl broke the silence, sharp, guttural, and filled with a sense of menace. The larger dog froze, its muscles tensing. The puppy, confused and scared, looked up at the larger dog, whose eyes now scanned the horizon. The howl came again, louder this time, echoing through the trees. It was a warning. The puppy's body stiffened, and it instinctively pressed closer to the larger dog. The wolf, the same one they had encountered before, was near. And this time, it wasn't alone. From the trees, a pair of glowing yellow eyes peered out, followed by another, and another. The puppy's heart pounded as it realized they were surrounded. The pack was closing in. The larger dog growled fiercely, the sound reverberating through the still air. It was clear. This would be a fight for survival. The puppy, though scared, stepped closer to the larger dog. The glow of the stone grew brighter, almost as though it sensed the approaching danger. The wolf pack slowly emerged from the forest, their eyes fixed on the duo. The larger dog barked aggressively, its fur bristling, but the wolves didn't back down. Instead, they spread out, creating a circle around the two animals. The puppy, feeling the gravity of the situation, instinctively stayed close to the larger dog. The wolves growled in unison, their eyes glowing, hungry and wild. The leader, a large, scarred alpha, stepped forward, its eyes locked on the glowing stone in the larger dog's mouth. It was as if the wolf could sense the stone's power. The larger dog stepped protectively in front of the puppy, its growl low and menacing. The situation was escalating fast, and there was no way to escape. The wolf pack would not back off. They were here for something, and the glowing stone seemed to be the key. The puppy's heart pounded in its chest, and it realized that its new ally was fighting not just for survival, but to protect them both. The larger dog lunged at the alpha wolf, teeth flashing, but the wolves were ready. A blur of movement ensued. Growls and snarls filled the air as the larger dog fought back with all its strength. The puppy watched, frozen, its heart racing as it saw the battle unfold before it. The wolf pack was too many, and they were closing in. The puppy, desperate, darted toward the stone, which still pulsed faintly with energy. It was only then that the puppy realized something. It had a role to play in this fight. The glow from the stone seemed to call to it. The puppy grabbed the stone in its mouth, and to its surprise, a surge of power coursed through its body. The stone's glow intensified, casting a powerful light that blinded the wolves. The larger dog took advantage of the distraction, launching itself at the alpha once again. The pack hesitated, disoriented by the powerful light, and the tide of battle shifted in the duo's favor. The puppy, still gripping the stone, felt a rush of courage surge through it. It wasn't just a bystander anymore. With one final powerful growl, the larger dog drove the alpha wolf back, forcing it into retreat. The rest of the pack, realizing they were outmatched, followed suit. The wolves disappeared into the shadows of the forest, leaving the puppy and the larger dog standing alone in the aftermath. The glow from the stone slowly faded, and the forest returned to its eerie silence. The puppy, panting, looked up at the larger dog, who was also breathing heavily, but victorious. The two animals shared a quiet moment of understanding. Though they had won the battle, they knew the danger wasn't over. The stone had power, and it had attracted the attention of something far greater than a mere pack of wolves. The larger dog nudged the puppy gently, signaling it to follow. There was no time to rest. The journey ahead was uncertain, but the bond between them had strengthened. Together, they would face whatever challenges came next. The night fell over the forest like a heavy blanket, and the duo, puppy and the larger dog, continued their journey deeper into the unknown. The air was cooler now, and the forest felt heavier, as though it too was holding its breath. The glow from the stone had faded, but the weight of its presence lingered. The puppy, exhausted but determined, trotted beside the larger dog. It no longer felt quite so alone. Despite the dangers they had faced, there was a bond between them now, a shared history of survival. The puppy's thoughts kept drifting back to the wolves, and their strange interest in the glowing stone. Why had they been so focused on it? What was its true power? The larger dog seemed to sense the puppy's unease, and nudged it gently with its head. A soft growl rumbled from the dog's throat, not one of threat, but of reassurance. The puppy glanced up, finding comfort in the dog's presence. They still had no answers, but together they might be able to find them. And perhaps they might uncover more than they had ever imagined. The journey was far from over, but the first steps of trust had been taken. The forest suddenly gave way to a clearing, and the pair paused. The puppy looked around, unsure of what to expect. The clearing was large, but something about it felt different, almost unnatural. The larger dog stopped, its posture alert, and its eyes scanned the edges of the clearing, as if searching for something. The puppy's heart raced again, but it wasn't fear this time. It was anticipation. There was something significant about this place, something the larger dog had been drawn to. The ground beneath them felt warm, as if the earth itself was alive with energy. The puppy took a hesitant step forward, drawn toward the center of the clearing. It wasn't just the feeling of power. It was the pull of the unknown, the mystery that had been haunting them both since the discovery of the stone. The puppy's eyes caught something glimmering in the distance, a faint light, similar to the glow of the stone. It beckoned them both forward. As they moved closer to the light, the puppy's heart began to pound. It wasn't just the light. It was the realization that they were nearing the source of something much greater than either of them could have imagined. The glow grew brighter as they approached, illuminating the ground before them. At the center of the clearing, half buried beneath the earth, was a stone pedestal. The light emanated from it, pulsing gently, as though alive. The larger dog hesitated, its eyes narrowing as it stared at the pedestal. The puppy, feeling the gravity of the moment, stepped forward, its paws trembling slightly. There was no going back now. The stone had led them here to this moment of revelation. The puppy couldn't help but wonder, was this the place of the stone's origin? Had it always been meant to be found? The larger dog nudged the puppy gently, encouraging it to step closer. Together, they would uncover whatever secrets lay buried beneath the earth. The moment the puppy stepped closer to the pedestal, the ground trembled beneath them. A deep rumble reverberated through the air, causing the leaves to shake and the trees to sway. The light from the pedestal intensified, blinding them both for a moment. As the light subsided, the puppy and the larger dog were stunned to see a figure emerging from the shadows of the forest. It was tall, cloaked in darkness, with eyes that shimmered with an ancient knowledge. The figure spoke, its voice low and commanding. "The stone has chosen you," it said. The words were heavy, filled with a deep power. The puppy's heart raced. What did it mean? The figure stepped forward, its eyes never leaving them. "You must protect the stone. It is more than just an artifact. It is a key to an ancient power, and many will come to claim it." The larger dog growled softly, its body tense. The figure's gaze softened. "But you are not alone," it added. "Together, you have the strength to protect it." The revelation hit hard. The puppy and the larger dog had been thrust into something much larger than themselves, and the path ahead would be fraught with danger. With the figure's words still echoing in their ears, the puppy and the larger dog stood at the edge of the unknown. The weight of the responsibility they had been given was overwhelming. The glowing stone, now safe in the larger dog's mouth, seemed to pulse with new energy, almost as though it had awakened. The figure spoke again, its voice softer this time. "The journey is just beginning. The stone will guide you, but you must be prepared. Those who seek its power will stop at nothing to take it from you." The figure turned and began to fade into the shadows, its form dissolving into the night. The puppy and the larger dog exchanged a look, determination in their eyes. The figure was right. They were no longer just two creatures trying to survive. They were protectors of something far more powerful. With one final glance at the clearing, they turned and began their journey once more, knowing that their true path was only now beginning. The journey ahead felt heavier now. The puppy and the larger dog traveled through dense forests, across rushing streams, and over rocky hills, the weight of their newfound responsibility constantly on their minds. The stone had become a beacon, drawing them forward, but also attracting unseen dangers. The larger dog's instincts were on high alert, constantly scanning their surroundings. The puppy, though still small and unsure, had grown stronger in its bond with the larger dog. The glow from the stone was dimmer now, as if its energy was slowly fading, but the fear of what might come still lingered. In the distance, a strange sound echoed, footsteps or something heavier. The puppy's ears perked up, and it instinctively moved closer to the larger dog. Their shared mission had made them a target. The voice of the mysterious figure echoed in the puppy's mind. Many will come to claim it. They were being hunted, but by whom and why? The uncertainty gnawed at the puppy's insides, but the larger dog's steady presence kept it grounded. It wasn't just about survival anymore. It was about protecting the stone at all costs. The sound grows louder, echoing through the trees. The larger dog stops abruptly, its body tense. The puppy's heart races, its body instinctively crouching low to the ground. Ahead, shadows move, fast, purposeful. The puppy's body stiffens as the figures draw closer, the outline of men in dark cloaks emerging from the underbrush. They move in silence, but the intent in their eyes is clear. They are here for the stone. The larger dog growls low in its throat, stepping in front of the puppy protectively. The cloaked figures halt a few yards away, their faces hidden in the shadows of their hoods. The tension in the air is palpable. The puppy can feel the danger, its senses heightened, but it doesn't know what to do. The larger dog steps forward, prepared to defend them both. But the figures make no move, only watching, waiting. The silence is broken by one of the figures, their voice calm but filled with authority. "Give it to us, you cannot protect it forever." The larger dog growled louder, the sound echoing in the still air. The puppy could feel the tension in every fiber of its being, but it could also sense something deeper. A choice was approaching. The figures did not seem afraid, but they did not advance either. The one who spoke before raised a hand, signaling the others to wait. "You are strong, but you do not know what you carry. The stone is not for you. It has a purpose far beyond your understanding." The puppy's mind raced. What purpose? Why had the stone chosen them? Why had they been brought here? The larger dog, sensing the confusion and fear in the puppy, stepped forward. It did not growl this time. Instead, it spoke in a low, steady voice, one that carried a weight of experience and survival. "We do not give up what we protect." The figure in the lead raised its head, as if considering the response. "Then prepare for the consequences," they said coldly, before signaling for the group to move forward, drawing weapons, long, jagged blades that caught the faint moonlight. The larger dog lunged first, its teeth flashing in the dim light, moving faster than the puppy could comprehend. The figures reacted instantly, their blades striking in a flash. The sound of metal clashing against teeth rang out, a sharp, violent noise. The puppy, though still frightened, understood what had to be done. It wasn't enough to stay hidden, it had to act. With a burst of instinct, the puppy darted toward the stone, grabbing it from the larger dog's mouth. The moment its teeth touched the stone, the air around them exploded in light. The figures staggered back, shielding their eyes as the stone pulsed with a power neither of them had anticipated. The puppy's eyes widened in surprise, feeling the energy surge through its tiny body. It wasn't just holding the stone, it was channeling its power. The larger dog, now free from the figure's attacks, turned to protect the puppy. "We are not helpless," the dog snarled, positioning itself between the puppy and the attackers. The cloaked figures, disoriented by the stone's light, staggered backward, their weapons lowered. It was clear that they were no match for the raw power emanating from the small puppy. As the light dimmed, the figures regained their composure, but their resolve wavered. "The stone has chosen you," the leader murmured, almost reluctantly. "But be warned, you cannot hide from what it will bring." With that, they turned and disappeared into the shadows, leaving the puppy and the larger dog standing alone once more. The clearing fell quiet. The puppy, still clutching the stone, felt the weight of what had just transpired. It wasn't just a battle won, it was a turning point. The path ahead was now clearer. They were protectors of the stone, and that meant facing even greater dangers. But for the first time, the puppy felt a surge of confidence, knowing that it wasn't alone. The larger dog nudged it gently, signaling that the journey would continue. They had made it this far, and together they could face whatever came next. The puppy and the larger dog arrived at an ancient temple, the air thick with power. The stone in the puppy's mouth pulsed with energy as they entered. The temple felt both inviting and dangerous, its purpose unclear. They were close to their goal, but doubts lingered. The larger dog growled, sensing something. Inside, the stone altar glowed. The puppy placed the stone upon it, and the temple trembled with energy. The larger dog stood watch, aware of the growing danger. Was this the place the stone was meant for? The puppy hesitated, but the stone's power seemed to call them forward. A cloaked figure emerged, claiming the stone for itself. "The stone is mine," it said. The larger dog growled, stepping forward protectively. The figure raised its hand, and the stone's light intensified. The puppy felt the power surge but remained frozen. The figure warned them, "You cannot stop what's already begun." The puppy placed the stone on the altar. Light erupted, blinding the figure, and sending it retreating into the shadows. The puppy felt the stone's power surge through it. The figure vanished, and the temple fell silent. The puppy had done what was needed, but the journey was far from over. With the figure gone, the puppy and the larger dog left the temple. The larger dog nudged the puppy, and together they stepped into the unknown. "It's time to move on," the dog said. Stone's glow faded, but their bond and purpose remained stronger than ever.